that we are recording. Today is our Wow Wednesday webinar, and today we're going to have a special edition because we're going to cover money management and troop finances, and then when that's over, we're going to talk about some other troop news and things that are happening for the spring. Real important, so hopefully you'll stick around and we'll get through this as quickly as possible in honor of all of your time. Just a couple of things I do. First of all, want to introduce myself. My name is Kim Klima, and I am the Director of Volunteer Support and Services here at the Girl Scouts. And I am really happy to be here, honored to be helping, navigate our call today. Really appreciate all of your time. A couple of things that I wanted to point out about our, and I don't know if I'm doing that with the lines. I don't know how to get rid of that. I think somebody wrote on the screen, but try to fix that too in just a moment. So just a quick tutorial about Zoom, which is the webinar technology that we're using. I want to ask everyone to keep themselves muted for now. As the meeting host, I can unmute everyone at once. I can mute everyone at once, but I want to make sure that you have control so that if you do have a question, you can unmute your line and you can ask your question, and that's perfectly fine. However, in the meantime, when you don't have a question, just keep yourself muted so that we're not hearing all the background noise wherever it is that you're calling in from. And also, you can turn on your video screen. We always appreciate that because it helps us to make eye contact, get to know you a little bit better. Don't be shy. Most people are at first, but there's no reason to be shy. So if you have a video, go ahead and allow yourself to be seen, and that helps us all out. And if you really don't like speaking up on these calls, that's okay too. There is a chat log. It is in your menu there. You can write your questions, and we're going to do the best that we can to make sure that we answer those questions for you. This is newer technology for us too. We're still trying to get used to it. People have options, and so like writing on the screen is one of those options. Somebody did that, trying to experiment, which I could totally understand because that's something I would totally do and might have been the one to do. Let me see if I can erase it. Look at that. I did it. Yay. Okay. So, I don't think we can break it, and I'm certain that we'll all be patient with one another, so feel free to take a risk. Okay, and then here's a snapshot of our Wow Wednesday schedule for the next couple of months coming up. So today we are talking about money management and troop finances, and there's no regularly scheduled Wow Wednesday in December. However, we are going to be offering a troop leader meeting in the evening at 6 p.m. on that Wow Wednesday, which is the second Wednesday of December. I believe it's the 9th. We are going to be offering at 6 p.m. another opportunity for you to call in and get the troop spring readiness information and information about the troop consult meetings that need to happen with all the troops this spring. So it's really important that you do either stay on the line today or dial in on December 9th, or both. If you have questions, you can come back. So otherwise, no regular meeting in December. But in January, we're going to talk about take action projects. That's a really big topic. A lot of times people are confused between take action and community service. So we're going to attempt to help you guys see that all the right way. And you could see the rest of the schedule there. We get into bridging and spring renewal and summer camp, some really good stuff planned for you. By the way, all of these calls are recorded, and our last month's call was really great. Debbie Krupa joined us from the program team, and she went over all the new badges and journeys and things that are available for girls at every age level. So if you missed that, you can go into the Nook and hear the recording. You can watch that as many times as you would like. So I know I learned a lot during that call. You probably will too. All right, and GSNEO is implementing implementing a new required maybe, but really the real word isn't required. It's really necessary that we're implementing the request for all the troops to have parent meetings in January of this year. And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit, but the purpose of the Spring Readiness Family Meeting is for all troop leaders to discuss important upcoming spring events, programs, deadlines with their parents. So we do want to make sure that all the parents feel included in important troop decisions that affect their growth. So this is a meeting to do just that. During this meeting, we will uncover 3 main topics. We're going to ask you to talk about finance reports, cookie season, and spring renewal. And you're going to make several important decisions with your families there. So make sure that that you do plan to have these meetings. I think, Megan, you're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. So I'm going to, I think, come back around to spring readiness, but wanted to make sure that we at least give you the trailer, a sneak preview, if you will, or a spoiler alert. Sometimes that's known by. So stay tuned on that. In just a little bit, we'll come back to it. Let's see. I do want to point out, give me just a second. Gotcha. Okay. You guys can see the screen that says Troop Leader Basics. Yes? Okay. Great. Great. That's right where we should be. So all resources about the topic that we're going to talk about later is available on the Nook. And we're going to go over that in further detail in just a moment. Now, also, I want to talk to you about troop finances today. That's the first part of our meeting, what that's really all about. And also, everything about troop finances can also be found on the Troop Leader Basics resources page in the Nook. And so let's take a look at this. This is a very important topic. With your troop, the first step that you need to do when you're new is go to the bank branch where you want to open a bank account for your troop. So if you still need to open up a bank account, things did get a little bit more tricky a couple of years ago because of the scandals and things that go on. You know, all the new laws that have been put in place since 9/11 really have changed the way banking works. And so there is a very specific process about how to go about opening your bank account. So let's just say that you already have a bank account established, but maybe you need to help somebody who's a new leader. Maybe it was easy for you to open your bank account, but for them, they're having trouble and you don't understand why. Or maybe you're on the service team in your community and you need to really be able to offer some support in this area. So we're going to just touch briefly on setting up the bank account, whether or not you still need to do that. First of all, we do want to mention that troops, we ask that the troops open their bank account at one of our proven banks that are proven to work well with us. They're preferred banks according to Girl Scouts. And so that's Huntington, Key Bank, or Fifth Third. It's really important that you choose one of those banks so that you don't give fees in your accounts, and they work really well with us. Now, there are other banks that people use, and that's okay, but these 3 banks are preferred. But when you want to open the account, the first thing you do is you go to the bank and you get the name and the information of the banker that you are going to be working with to open that account, because you need their information to fill out the Open New Bank Account form for GSNEO. When you get that information, you fill out the form, you send that to GSNEO, and then GSNEO is going to send an authorization letter to the bank stating that you have authority to open a bank account in our name. We will also send you a copy of that letter, so you'll know when they get it. When you get your copy via email, you can print it if you want, but the bank should have a copy, and you go ahead and you take that back to the bank. And this time when you go back to the bank, you want to make sure you take both of your signers, because both of you will need to be on the account, and both of you will need to be present. So that can be a little tricky to align those schedules, and we understand, but we got to try to work that out. And then once you're at the bank, you're going to give them the authorization letter or point it out that they should have it. And you're going to fill out the form to open the bank account. Now, you do have to have 2 unrelated approved volunteers to open that bank account. And by unrelated, we mean it can't be a mother-daughter team or a husband-wife team. It has to be unrelated people who are approved volunteers with the Girl Scouts. With the authorization letter in hand, you can go ahead and open that account. And then after you open the account, you're going to submit another form to GSNEO with your bank a checking account number and your routing number, and we'll put that on file. Then when you have to pay your cookie bill, we could take the money right out of your account, or if we need to give you money for some reason, we could put the money right into your account. It's very convenient. It also allows us access to your account so that we can see the account when we call the bank if we need to see it. And that has proven very helpful for everyone. So this is the way that we set up bank accounts. All troops are also required annually to submit a finance report. Now, these finance reports are due on the second Wednesday of the month from now on. So before it was June 30th, now it's the second Wednesday of June. This year, I believe that's June 12th, but it won't always be the 12th because it's the second Wednesday of the month. The reason we picked a Wednesday is because it's smack dab right in the middle of the week. That means that it's not Monday, which everyone struggles with. It's not Friday, so if you have questions over the weekend, you're not waiting for a phone call. Right in the middle of Wednesday is when it's due. Also, it's due on the second week of the month. That allows you to get your bank statement from the previous month so that you could do your finance report. Now, if the second Monday is drawing close and you're worried that you're not going to get that May statement in time to do your report, no worries. Just use your April statement and cut your finances off in April, and then start your next year on May 1st. So it doesn't have to be the June bank statement. It doesn't even have to be the May bank statement. It just has to be the bank statement. The last bank statement that you got is your closing date. That's the date that you want to match up at the end of your finance report. And then anything after that, you just count in the next year. So that's how that works. And that trips people up sometimes, so don't fall into the hole and get confused there. The other thing is you need to submit your finance reports on the VTK. That's kind of new too. Last year was our first year that we did that. This year will be our second year, so hopefully we have some pros out there that can help you now. Only direct primary volunteers can access the VTK and make changes. So what is a direct primary volunteer? Direct primaries are troop leaders, troop admins, and troop program guides. So if you have a role in the troop that is not one of those positions and you're also the treasurer, you need to work with one of those direct primaries so that you can actually go in and enter the information in your bank statement. In your finance report. Now that being said, if you're a parent, maybe you don't have any role at all, but you're a parent in the troop, or any of the volunteers in the troop can always see the finance report through the VTK. You just can't change it unless you're a primary volunteer. So it really makes sense if your treasurer is also a primary, or at least the second signer is a primary on the account. When you go into the VTK, you're going to log in. The finance report is in the top right side of that homepage there in the VTK. Enter all the amounts in the fields. And then each of those fields has a little thing that you can click on the side of it that gives you a better understanding of what the line item is. So if you're not sure what we're talking about in that particular line, you can click the little button and read about a description that what goes into that line. And also there's a troop a treasurer tracking template that you could find on the Nook under the Troop Leader Basic Resources section, and then under Troop Finances, and then under Troop Finance Reporting. So it's an Excel spreadsheet that was created by some volunteers along with our CFO to help you keep track of your finances as the year goes on. After you submit your report, you want to show your finance report to the parents in the troop. This is really important. Transparency is key. And you want to encourage the girls in your troop to earn the CFO patch. So it's a fun way to review what happened last year and what financial goals they should set for the coming year. And then they can earn that every single year. Okay? So let's talk for a moment about money earning. Money earning is an essential part of Girl Scouting, because the opposite of girls earning their way is just asking parents for money all the time, and nobody thinks that's a good idea. So the girls, it's really important that the girls know what it is they want to do and set some financial goals for the troop. And then the ways that they can earn money is through our product sales. The Cookies and Magazine and Snack Program is the best way to go about earning funds for your troop. Cookie sales take place in the early spring season. The magazine and snack sales take place in the fall. I would say cookies is more December, kind of midwinter startup, but it goes through the spring. And these programs are organized by GSNEO, and all the registered girls are eligible to participate. They're not required, but they are eligible. So one of the things girls tell us first when we first meet them is, do I get to sell cookies? It's a pretty iconic thing to do as a Girl Scout. They do look forward to it, but the good thing is it's not just about money, it's the program aspects of it too. So it's a great way for girls to earn some dollars to fund their experience. In addition, when troops are brand new, GSNEO does offer a troop startup loan. Because we know there's some early on expenses with troops, before they ever have a chance to earn any money, we will extend a loan to a new troop of up to $300. That helps cover some of the initial costs, like registering the required volunteers. And by accepting the loan, the troops agree to participate in the product sales so they could pay us back. It's actually working really well, and we're glad that we're able to do that. So there's a loan request for newly forming troops form on the Nook. If you know of a newly forming troop and you want to share that information, please do. So the third way that troops can earn money is through money earning activities. These are activities that are organized by the troops themselves, not by the council. These activities should be requested through a money earning application. So you can't just up and do a money earning activity like a bake sale or a car wash. You have to submit an application and have it approved by GSNEO before you could do it. There are some prerequisites to doing money earning activities, like you do have to participate in the product sales before you do yet another fundraiser. All right, so hopefully that answers some of the questions. I don't know, Megan, as you're following along, do you see any questions that we need to answer, or have you been able to answer those along the way?
Been answering them along the way. I do want to make the point that while the slide said that the finance report was due June 19th, the third Wednesday, it has been changed to June 12th, which is the second Wednesday. And then Ann Sizemore also asked when the finance tab will be turned back on. Every year we update the top of the finance report. We don't actually update the body of the finance report to include some additional resources, maybe reword something to make it more clear for the leaders who are filling out the report. So that should be up very soon. So maybe within the next few days, you can expect to see that. I think that was it. Those were the only questions.
Thanks, Megan. Does anybody else have any questions now? You could put them in the chat log or unmute your line. Okay. I do want to touch on donations here for just a moment, because there are ways that troops can get things in their troop through donations. And so we do ask that if your troop does receive a donation, that you do report all of your donations so that we can recognize the gift to the donor. And you can do this by submitting the donations to troops form on the Nook. So we do ask that you make sure that you do say thank you to any donors. Sometimes some examples of things that get donated, craft supplies, food, pizza, even honestly meeting space. I mean, a lot of times other groups in the community have to pay for space that maybe the Girl Scouts gets for free. So if that's you, if your troop is the recipient of something like this, a gift in kind, make sure that your girls are saying thank you. That's a really important part of the process. All right, and so if there are no further questions regarding money, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Megan, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that spring readiness project that's really before all of us this year.